Till then, you only tell me, do you have any doubts, any topic you want me to rediscuss?
No, it's clear. It's mostly clear.
So I was thinking of starting a new chapter today also, and that chapter is going to be genetics part. Okay, the principle of inheritance, and
Principles of inheritance. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
that we are going to do today. So, share my screen. So, as far as this genetics goes, can you tell me what is the basis of our, you can say, or you can tell me what is inheritance? What do you mean by inheritance?
Ma'am, it's the transfer of traits or certain characteristics from one generation to the
Very
next.
good, exactly. So when we talk about the principle of inheritance and variation, in this particular chapter, you're going to see every single thing that is in relation with how the transformation or the transferring of the traits or the characters that takes place from one generation to another. Or you can say that how they get transferred from the parents to the offspring or from the parents to the progeny. Apart from that, variation. Now, what is variation? Variation is when new characters are introduced in the offspring. Like we know that sexual reproduction leads to the variation, right? It leads to the introduction of new characters. And that is what we call as variation. And under the word genetics, it's like a big branch of science that will be dealing with the study related to the inheritance and the variation. Okay. And whenever we say genetics, we hear a name along with it, that is Mendel. Gregor Johann Mendel or G.J. Mendel, he is the father of genetics. And the reason why he is the father of genetics, it's because he was the first person to ever talk about how the inheritance takes place and to tell us that, okay, there is a scientific reason or a scientific basis behind the inheritance and variation that takes place. And he did so by doing his hybridization experiment. And for his experiment, he chose the garden pea plant, scientific name of which is Pisum sativum. So he chose Pisum sativum for his hybridization. Now the question comes along, why did he only choose the pea plant? Why not any other plant? Right? He could have chosen any other plant, but why did he choose this one? So it's because the pea plant, it has 7 pairs of contrasting characters, firstly. Second, after every reproductive cycle, it creates a lot, so like you can say a huge amount of seeds, and it completes its life cycle in one season. So Mendel did not have to wait for several seasons for the fruiting to be done. Other than that, these plants, they show self-pollination, is that they are true breeding plants. And they can easily, like since they are self-pollinated plants, you can artificially cross-pollinate them. So because of all of these reasons, Mendel chose the pea plant. Now, the pea plant, it has 7 pairs of contrasting characters. Okay, 7 pairs, that is 14 characters in total. So you must pay attention to this very thing that many a times in your questions, it is written dash pairs and dash total number. So you should pay attention that total number is 14, but there are 7 pairs. Do not write 14 pairs. Now, what are the characters and their like you say, the different traits? So, first character is the seed shape. Now, the seed shape could be round or it could be wrinkled, and that is the dominant. Dominant is the one that will express itself. Recessive is the one that whenever dominant trait is present, recessive trait will not be able to express it. Second, there is seed color. Now, the seed color could be yellow or it could be green, right? If it is yellow, then that's dominant. If it is green, then that's recessive. The flower color could be violet or white. The pod shape, fully or inflated or constricted. Then constricted is the recessive trait. Then comes flower position. It could be axial, then that is dominant. And if it is terminal, meaning at the tip of the stem, then that is your recessive character. Then comes this particular stem height. Stem height, or you can say also the height of the plant. So if the plant is tall, then that is a dominant trait. And if it is dwarf, then that is a recessive trait. So these different characters, like these 7 characters, he took into consideration to find out how inheritance happens, what is involved in inheritance, and everything related to that. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let us see some of the important terms as far as this particular chapter is concerned. All of these terms will be very helpful to you while you solve questions and also in general understanding of the chapter. So the important terms, the first one is the genes. Now you have heard genes a lot, right? So genes, we say that they are the functional unit of inheritance, or you can say that they are the functional unit of DNA. But at the time Mendel was experimenting, he did not know that it was the genes that were doing all of the thing. So he called it as factors in his time. Second are the alleles. For example, if the height of the plant could be tall and it could be dwarf, so the capital T represents the tall height and the small t represents the dwarf height. Okay, so the tall height and the dwarf, like see, both of them are the characters of the same thing. Whether a plant is tall or whether we are representing dwarf, we are talking about the height of the plant. So we can say that the tall and the dwarf, or the capital T and the small t, these are the alleles of each other. They are a pair of contrasting. Contrasting means opposite characters. Is it clear?
Yes,
Now the
ma'am.
characters, these are the features of the individual. See, in this chart, we saw the different characters and we saw how the characters, they have traits. For example, seed shape is a character and the types of seed shapes that are there, that will become its trait. So every character has a trait. So same way, the character is the feature of the individual. For example, stem height. The traits are the distinguishable feature of the character. So now if the stem height could be tall or it could be dwarf, so tall and dwarf are the traits of the character, that is stem height. Is it clear?
Yes.
After that, when we talk about the genes, okay, so the genes, they could be present in 2 types of conditions, homozygous and heterozygous. Homozygous means when the identical alleles are present together, not contrasting alleles, identical. So for example, capital T are present together, small t are present together. So they are same. And this kind of a condition where 2 same alleles or identical alleles of one gene are present together, we call it as homozygous condition. Okay, homo means same. This homozygous condition, when dominant trait we are talking about, you call it as homozygous dominant. And when you're talking about a recessive trait, so you call it as homozygous recessive. Clear? After that, there comes the heterozygous condition. Now, hetero means different. It doesn't mean the same. So when capital T will be present with a small t, now they are very different. And that is the condition you call it as the heterozygous condition. So when 2 different alleles are present together, you will call it as heterozygous condition. Is it clear? Now, in many questions, you will see that they are writing, when they'll talk to you about crosses, they will mention true breeding. So if there is any question that if you find true breeding or if you find pure breeding in the question, assume it to be homozygous condition. Okay? It's like a keyword for it. So now, if I ask you a question that in which of the conditions will the recessive trait express itself? What would your answer be?
Ma'am, homozygous recessive.
Very good. The recessive trait will express itself in homozygous recessive, and only
Homozygous
in that
recessive. Yeah.
situation. Only and only. Why? Because if it is in a heterozygous situation, the dominant gene will mask it and the dominant will express. Okay, so recessive trait is only going to express itself in homozygous recessive condition. Now, all of the alphabets that we just saw, like capital T, small t, and all of that, these are the way we are representing the genes of the organism, right? So the genetic makeup of the organism is what we call as the genotype. So if it is homozygous, it is heterozygous, this is the genotype. But what it expresses, for example, two capital T's represent a tall height. So that height, which is tall, is the phenotype. Phenotype means externally observable character, meaning something that you can observe. If I give you two plants, both of them are tall. Will you be able to tell me whether it is a heterozygously tall plant or homozygously tall plant? Will you be able to tell me?
No, ma'am,
No.
no, ma'am. We'll have to
You'll
breed it with something else and then we can
Yes,
decide.
then you can tell me. So up until now, you'll just see that, okay, it's like both of them are tall. So that's it. That's all you can say. So the things that you can observe, that is the phenotype. For example, the height, the color, the shape. But the genes that are causing it to be either dominant or recessive, that will make the genotype. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then comes the dominant character. Now, dominant character will express itself in every generation. Right? The character that is able to express itself is a dominant character. And the recessive character is the type of character which will not be able to express itself when a dominant character is present. But it will be only able to express itself in a homozygous, like you told me, recessive condition. Yeah. Now, with all of that, Mendel gave the laws of inheritance. And according to Mendel, he gave two laws, that is law of dominance and law of segregation. So according to the law of dominance, it says that in the first generation, all the offsprings are going to have or going to display the dominant characters. Okay, this is what the law of dominance says, that in the F1 generation, like that is the first generation, the dominant trait will express itself, and the recessive and the dominant, they both will express themselves in the second generation. But in the first generation, only dominant trait will express itself. Second is the law of segregation. Now, the law of segregation tells us that whenever two traits are present in the individual, they are not going to get mixed up. For example, if you are crossing a tall plant with a dwarf plant, it doesn't mean that only the tall genes will be expressed and the dwarf won't. That doesn't mean, no. This is what law of segregation tells us, that no genes ever get mixed up. They show in the second generation. Both the kinds of genes you'll find in the second. Is it clear?
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
this is what is depicted. Like, for example, we take two parents, like parent one, parent two. From them, we get two gametes, the male gamete, the female gamete. When the male gamete and the female gamete combine, the first set of offspring we get, that is the first generation or F1 generation. F1 means first filial generation. After that, when you do the selfing or the back crossing or any type of crossing, then the next set of offspring you get, that is the second generation. Clear? This is like the basic concept which you are going to see in all of the process that we are going to make. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to ask? Oh, very good.
No.
Now, the first cross that we are going to see is going to be a monohybrid cross. Now see, mono means one. So when we are studying that how the inheritance of one gene is taking place, then we are going to call it as monohybrid cross. Okay. For example, you're just studying the height of the plant and how that is getting inherited. Are you studying only the color of the flower and all of that? So one character when you're taking into consideration, that is what we call as monohybrid cross. Why is my screen stuck?
What, ma'am?
Nothing, nothing. My screen was stuck. Up until now, I hope you have no doubts.
No.
Okay. Can you see the screen, Ibrahim?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Oh. So the monohybrid cross, we're going to study the inheritance of one gene. So we take one character into consideration. So for example, if we are taking the height of the plant into consideration, and we are going to see how does that gets inherited. Okay, so you're taking a homozygous dominant and you're crossing it with a homozygous recessive. Okay, this is the parent set of genes. Now to find out the F1 generation, you take this gene, cross it with this one. You get capital T, small. Then you take this gene again and cross it with the next small t. You get capital T, small. This is done. Now you take the second t, cross it with the small t. You'll get this, and then the last one, you're going to get this. So this set of offsprings that you have received, it is the first generation, F1 generation, right? Now, if I were to ask you, what is the phenotype of the F1 generation offsprings? Phenotype.
All will be tall.
Yes, all of them are tall. And what if I ask you, what is their genotype?
Ma'am, they are heterozygous tall.
Very good. They are heterozygous.
Heterozygous dominant. Yeah.
Now, in order to find out the F2 generation, what you're supposed to do is that you take any two members and you cross them together. Okay, so for example, you've taken capital T, small t, you're crossing it with capital T, small t yet again. Now you're going to get capital T, capital T, capital T, small t. Even if you're crossing the small t with the capital T, still you'll write capital T first and then small t. And then, so now, sorry. So now in this is what you've received. This is the F2 generation. Now, can you tell me the phenotype of this one? Phenotype.
Ma'am, three tall, one short, 3:1 ratio. Three tall, one dwarf.
Three of them are tall and one of them is dwarf. So the phenotypic ratio of the F2 generation, it comes out to be 3:1. And now by
Three.
doing this experiment, we can say or we can verify how the Mendelian law holds true. Because what did he say? According to the law of dominance, all the members of the F1 generation, they are going to be dominant, irrespective of their genotype. None of them are recessive, all of them are dominant. Second is the law of segregation that says that the traits, they do not get mixed up and that they appear in the second generation. So now you see you have tall as well as you have the dwarf. Is it clear? Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am.
So for this experiment, when Mendel crossed the true breeding tall variety, true breeding means homozygous tall and true breeding dwarf variety. True breeding dwarf variety means homozygous dwarf. And ultimately he came to the ratio that comes out to be 3:1. And when he counted the genotypic ratio, he saw that one of them was homozygous tall, two of them were heterozygous tall, and then again one of them was homozygous recessive or dwarf. So that comes out to be their genotypic ratio. Is it clear?
Yes.
Any doubts?
Mhm.
All right. Now there is this one question that you do and tell me if there is any doubts there. Where is my screen going?
Ma'am, I can see your screen.
You can see my screen? I cannot see my
Yes, ma'am,
screen.
yes.
One second.
Yes, ma'am, your laptops.
Okay, now can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
I have this question. Was like related to the monohybrid cross. Like it will test whether you understand the whole entire thing or not. Yes. Once you're done, tell me.
Yes, ma'am, done. Easy question.
Done already?
Yes, ma'am. In F1, we'll have all blue flowers.
Hmm.
And then in F2, we'll have what? 50% white flowers.
50% white plus.
No, wait, no, white flowers. Oh, 25% white
Hmm.
flowers. Yeah. And state the expected genotypic, hang on, a genotypic and phenotypic ratio. So genotypic will have 3:1,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Genotypic will be
phenotypic.
changed.
No. Genotypic. Uh, yeah. Wait. No. Okay, ma'am. I'll have to do this. Yes, ma'am. Genotypic ratio we will have as 3:2. No. Genotypic ratio will be two. No. 1:2:1, and phenotypic will be 3:1.
Very correct. All right, now you can note it down. Then we'll move forward and talk about the dihybrid. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Done. Can you please?
Done, Ibrahim.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Don't know.
Um,
Then Ibrahim,
yes.
any doubts?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am, done.
Then Ibrahim.
Yes.
All right. Any doubts up until now?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's just keep it till here only. Today's class. We'll complete this chapter and start doing the questions. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. I'll see you in the next.